There was a night when a king tried to speak to the dead. His name was Saul, Israel's first king, crowned, feared, and broken. He still had soldiers, he still had a throne, but peace was gone. Outside his camp, an enemy army waited in the valley. The Philistines had gathered like a storm over the hills. Saul looked down at them, and fear entered his bones. This was not ordinary fear. This was the fear of judgment. So Saul prayed. But heaven gave him nothing, not by dreams, not by prophets, not by sacred signs. God had gone silent, and Saul could not bear the silence. Then he gave the command that crossed a forbidden line. Find me a woman who can call up the dead. The words left his mouth, and the night changed forever. This is not just a ghost story from the Bible. It is the story of a man who lost God before he lost his crown. The armies faced each other near Mount Gilboa. One ridge held Saul, another valley held his enemies. The king asked God for guidance before battle, but the dream stayed empty. The prophets brought no word. The sacred lots gave no direction. Every road to heaven seemed closed. When a frightened man cannot hear God, he starts hearing darkness. But this silence did not begin that night. Years earlier, Saul had been chosen with oil and honor. He began with humility, standing small before the people. But power can turn humility into hunger. At Gilgal, his soldiers were slipping away. Samuel was late. Saul grew impatient. So the king offered the sacrifice himself. The moment he finished, Samuel arrived. The prophet saw the smoke, and the king had no hiding place. Your kingdom shall not continue, Samuel told him. That was the first crack in Saul's throne. Yet God gave Saul another test. The command was clear. Obey fully, keep nothing. Saul won the battle, but kept what looked valuable. He spared the enemy king against the command. Then Saul greeted Samuel as if he had obeyed. Samuel asked the question Saul could not escape. To obey is better than sacrifice. Because you rejected the word, God rejected you as king. Samuel turned to leave. Saul grabbed his robe. The cloth tore in Saul's hand. So the kingdom was torn from him too. By this time, Samuel was already dead. Israel had mourned him and buried him in Ramah. The prophet who once guided Saul was gone. And now, in fear, Saul wanted to hear his voice again. Now comes the darkest irony in the entire story. Saul had removed mediums and spiritists from the land. It was one of the few righteous laws he enforced. But now he needed the very thing he had banned. He could not go as king, so he covered himself in a common cloak. 2 servants went with him into the night. No torches, no royal banner, no guards, only the moon showed them the road. The Philistine campfires burned nearby below them. Every step could expose the king. The crown was hidden, but the fear was not. Endor lay beyond the enemy line. A small village waited in the hills. Inside lived a woman Saul had made illegal. They stood at her door in deep night. The silence made every breath sound dangerous. Saul stepped forward and changed his voice. Divine for me by a spirit, he said, bring up the one I named to you. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the door opened just a little. The woman looked at the strangers carefully. She was not a monster. She was afraid.
Surely you know what Saul has done,
she warned.
He has cut off mediums from the land. Why are you setting a trap for me? Why do you seek to get me killed?
She had survived by staying hidden, but the stranger at her door would not leave. Saul swore she would not be punished. He swore by the Lord who had gone silent. That detail is almost unbearable. The woman finally asked,
Whom shall I bring up?
Saul answered with one name.
Samuel.
The name changed the room. She led them inside. The door closed behind them. The room was small, stone, and breathless. Saul waited like a man standing before judgment. The woman prepared the forbidden work. No cheap horror, only fear, silence, and ancient darkness. The flame bent low. Dust rose, though no one moved. The shadows gathered behind her. Then she saw something Saul could not see. Her eyes widened, her breath broke. She cried out with a loud voice, and in that moment, she knew the hidden man was Saul.
Why have you deceived me?
She said. The king had been exposed in the house of the outlaw, but Saul feared the vision more than exposure. He asked her.
What do you see?
She said.
I see a godlike figure coming up from the earth.
What is his form?
Saul asked.
An old man,
She said, wrapped in a robe. Then Saul knew it was Samuel. He bowed with his face to the ground. The dead prophet stood where silence had been, and the room became heavier than battle. Samuel spoke first. Why have you disturbed me? Saul answered with the truth he could no longer hide. The Philistines make war against me, he said. God has departed from me. He answers me no more, so I called you to tell me what to do. Samuel did not comfort him. Why ask me when the Lord has departed from you? The Lord has become your enemy." The words crushed the room. Samuel reminded him of the kingdom torn away. He said the Lord gave it to David. Saul's worst fear now had a name. "Because you did not obey at Amalek, judgment has arrived. Tomorrow the Lord will give Israel into Philistine hands." Then came the sentence Saul could not survive. "Tomorrow you and your sons will be with me. Not someday. Tomorrow." The king fell full length to the ground. His strength left him because he had eaten nothing. The woman saw him broken and urged him to eat. Even she showed mercy to the king who outlawed her. A strange, final meal was placed before him. Saul rose from the ground, but not from judgment. He ate in silence. Then he walked back into the same night. Endor disappeared behind them. The prophecy followed him like a shadow. Morning came over Mount Gilboa. The battle began and the words became real.